Evelyn always believed that love could be cinematic like those late night jazz scenes where the city sparkles as if it knows your secrets. She moved to New York with a suitcase full of dreams and a camera slung across her shoulder, hoping to capture life before it disappeared into the mundane. Every street corner seemed like it had a story, and every face hinted at hidden pain or joy. But Evelyn hadn't expected that one single encounter could change the course of her life. It was a rainy Thursday when she first saw Liam. He was leaning against a lamppost, sketchbook in hand, drenched but smiling at nothing in particular. There was a rhythm to the way he moved, a subtle grace hidden in the chaos of the city. Evelyn felt a jolt, the kind that makes your heart beat audible in a crowded room. She raised her camera instinctively, as if capturing him could somehow trap the fleeting magic in the storm. "Can I take your photo?" she asked, trying to sound casual, though her fingers trembled. He looked up, and for a moment, the world paused. His smile was crooked but sincere, and his eyes grey like a storm yet warm like sunlight after rain locked onto hers. "Sure," he said, "but only if you promise not to make me look like a klitsch." And that was it. The beginning of a love that neither expected. They started meeting in CAFS under neon signs, and by rivers that reflected the city's restless heartbeat. Evelyn would photograph, Liam would sketch, and together they stitched their worlds into a shared tapestry of late-night music, spontaneous dances on empty streets, and whispered confessions over coffee that had long since gone cold. Their love was a song, each day a different note. Yet, beneath the melody, tension hummed. Liam was restless, haunted by an unspoken past, a family that never approved of his art, and dreams of leaving the city that kept him chained to memories he couldn't face. Evelyn, meanwhile, chased permanence in a world built on impermanence, craving stability in love, but afraid of being left behind. One night, after a jazz concert that left them both euphoric and aching, Liam confessed. "I might have to leave," he said, voice low, almost apologetic. "Paris, an opportunity. I can't say no." Evelyn felt her chest tighten. When? Next month. The days that followed were electric, saturated with the awareness of impermanence. Every touch, every glance, every shared joke became magnified. They danced in the rain, laughed until they cried, and whispered their deepest fears under the dim glow of streetlights. But with each fleeting moment came the shadow of departure. Then came the twist, the unexpected turn that no one could predict. Evelyn, while developing photographs in her tiny apartment, noticed something strange. In one image, a reflection in a puddle captured Liam speaking on the phone with someone, a woman. Not just any woman, someone wearing the same ring Evelyn had once gifted him as a joke. Confusion, hurt, and betrayal collided inside her. She confronted him that evening. Liam's eyes softened, filled with a quiet sadness. "Her name is Sophia," he admitted. "She's family. My mother's best friend's daughter. I promised to help her with something important." "It wasn't what you think." Relief and pain mingled in Evelyn's chest. Love, it seemed, was never simple. But the revelation sparked a shift, a moment of clarity. They realized that their love, as intense as it was, existed in a liminal space, beautiful yet fleeting, like the city lights that flickered each night before darkness swallowed them whole. As the day of his departure neared, they decided to spend every hour together. They rode ferries, walked across bridges, and returned to the spot where they first met, the lamppost now a silent witness to their ephemeral romance. "I am going to miss you," Liam replied. The morning of his flight arrived like a cruel punctuation mark. At the airport, they embraced, a kiss that tasted of longing, rain, and everything they would never say aloud again. Evelyn watched as he disappeared through the sliding doors, the city swallowing him whole. Months passed. Evelyn continued photographing life, each frame echoing with memories of Liam. She learned to love the city and its solitude, each reflection in a puddle or glint of neon a reminder of the beauty of fleeting moments. And one evening, years later, she walked past a jazz club where a familiar figure sketched at a corner table. She paused, heart pounding. Liam looked up, smiled that crooked, sincere smile, and for a brief moment, the city held its breath. They never reunited, never tried to recapture what was lost, but they carried each other in fragments, in photographs, in sketches, in memories that were as vibrant and fleeting as the lights that had first brought them together. Love, they realized, didn't always need permanence. Sometimes its beauty lay in the impermanence, the bittersweet ache, and the echoes it left behind. And in the city of flickering lights, Evelyn smiled, camera in hand, knowing that some stories were meant to shine brilliantly, even if only for a moment. Evelyn walked the streets of New York, her camera swinging loosely at her side. Years had passed since Liam left, and though she had learned to live with his absence, part of her heart remained tethered to that rainy Thursday, to the crooked smile that had rewritten her world. But life, as it often does, had a way of stirring the past when you least expected it. It started subtly. A photograph she took near the East River caught a shadow she didn't recognize, a figure leaning against the railing, almost invisible in the dim evening light. Her breath caught. She zoomed in, heart thundering. And there it was. Liam, or at least, someone who looked like him, sketchbook in hand, eyes scanning the river as if searching for something that only existed in memory. She hesitated. Was it really him, after all this time? She knew better than to hope. But hope has a way of creeping in, quiet and persistent. Evelyn decided to follow, keeping her distance, her camera ready not just to capture an image, but to preserve a possibility. Liam didn't notice her at first. He moved with the same rhythm she remembered, the same careless grace. He stopped near a bench, unfolding the sketchbook, and began drawing furiously. Something in the lines made her heart ache. It was the same intensity he had shown when he first sketched her, when they had been so alive in a world that existed only for the two of them. Finally, he looked up, and their eyes met. Time stuttered. The city around them faded into a blur of neon and rain-soaked pavement. Evelyn's fingers tightened around her camera, but she didn't raise it. She didn't need to capture this. The moment was already seared into her soul. Evelyn! Liam's voice was a whisper, almost fragile. Yes, she said, stepping closer, unsure of whether to smile or cry. I didn't expect. He started, and then stopped. His hands shook as if holding a secret too heavy to carry. Before she could ask, a voice called from across the street. Liam, there you are. A woman approached quickly, strikingly familiar. Evelyn froze. The woman was Sophia, the same one from that long-ago misunderstanding. But now, she carried an envelope, an urgency that made the blood drain from Evelyn's face. Liam's expression shifted, a mask of regret and fear. He held up a hand. Evelyn, it's complicated. Sophia handed him the envelope. You have to see this. Now. Liam opened it, and his eyes widened. Something inside him broke, a crack that split the years in half. He looked at Evelyn, desperation clouding his features. I didn't know. I couldn't tell you before. What is it? Evelyn's voice was steady, but inside, everything was unraveling. He swallowed hard. It's my father. He's dying. And he left me this a house. All of it, but there's a condition. I have to move back, to care for everything. I can't stay here. Evelyn's heart sank. After all this time, after this miraculous reunion, fate had not softened its blows. She felt tears prickling at the corners of her eyes, but she blinked them away. Liam reached for her hand. I want to stay, Evelyn. I want to stay with you, but I have to do this. I have to. She nodded, a strange mix of relief and sorrow flooding her. He wasn't gone because he stopped loving her. He was gone because life demanded it, cruel and unrelenting. They spent the next week together, every hour a stolen fragment of eternity. They danced in empty apartments, traced the city skyline hand in hand, and whispered promises they both knew would dissolve like mist. Evelyn photographed everything not as evidence, but as a way to etch this last chapter into memory. On the final night, Liam took her to the old lamppost where they had first met. The rain had begun to fall, soft and relentless, as if the city itself was mourning their impending separation. I wish things were different, Liam whispered, pressing his forehead to hers. Me too, Evelyn admitted, but maybe this was perfect in its impermanence. He kissed her then, a kiss that tasted of all the years they had lost and the moments they had stolen back. And as he walked away the next morning, disappearing into the fog and the noise of the city, Evelyn felt a strange sense of peace. Months later, while reviewing her photographs, Evelyn noticed something extraordinary. In the corner of one frame, captured by accident, was Liam's sketchbook lying open on a CAF table, lines overlapping with hers, drawings intertwined with memories, a silent testament that even distance and duty could not erase the bond they had formed. It was a revelation and a reversal. Though they were apart, their love had become something eternal, not confined by presence but preserved in art, in memory, in the flickering lights of the city they had once shared. And in that moment, Evelyn realized that love, like the city, is never truly lost. It changes form, it surprises, and sometimes it returns in ways you never imagined. The story didn't end with a reunion, but with understanding that love can be vast, complex, and endlessly inventive, and even in absence, it can shine brighter than any neon light on a rainy New York street.